Many years ago, when I was first looking to move up from a entry-level motorcycle that I had, which was a 150cc custom build, this was actually the bike I was looking at because it ticked a lot of boxes. I was looking for something that was expressway legal, something that is from a reputable brand, something that was easy to ride, had a very low seat height because, for beginners, that's pretty important, and was easy to maintain with classic styling. I mean, this pretty much checked all the boxes that I wanted for my first big bike. However, can the Rebel 500 be more than just an entry-level cruiser? I'm Jinno. Let's find out in this episode of Beyond the Ride. The Honda Rebel has become a staple in the world of mid-size to lower displacement cruisers since its introduction in the mid-1980s with the Rebel 250, aimed at entry-level riders. Known for its lightweight, approachable design and classic cruiser look, it quickly gained a following. In 2017, Honda introduced the Rebel 500, bringing more power and modern features to the lineup while retaining the beloved design ethos. That design ethos is something not everybody enjoys, but I clearly like. It's like a baby Harley Davidson. And the funny thing is, the people in Honda Philippines actually told me that when I picked up the bike. They expected people who were gonna buy this bike to eventually graduate to maybe the bigger Rebel or maybe even a cruiser like a Harley. The Honda Rebel 500 is powered by a 471cc liquid-cooled parallel twin engine, delivering 45.9 horsepower and 44.6 newton-meters of torque. This engine is paired with a 6-speed transmission, offering smooth and responsive shifts. The bike also boasts several modern features, including LED lighting, a digital LCD display, and an optional ABS version for enhanced safety. The minimalist design allows for easy customization, a big plus for riders who want to personalize their bike. So the dash is very simple, and you can see it under direct sunlight. Of course, there's a gear indicator, fuel indicator, speed, the normal stuff, clock. The handlebar is nice. I imagine it with a little baby 8-bar. I think that would look pretty cool, but this is not bad right here. The switches, not bad also. They don't feel super budget, which is a nice touch for the price range of the bike. It's something that I appreciate. The side mirrors, despite it being a lower displacement bike, it doesn't really vibrate as much as I expected it to, so it is still very useful at highway speeds. Now, this is something that I don't know why Honda does, but in their other big bikes as well, they have the horn button and the signal light button different from other manufacturers, so they want to confuse you a little bit. So it does take a while to get used to it. I have a couple of times pressed the indicator instead of the horn, but once you get used to it, it's going to be not an issue. Now check out the tank of the Honda Rebel. It's very Harley Davidson. The design is something that's, I guess, not everybody loves, but I quite like. You can't really grip the tank with your legs too much. But aside from that, it's not going to be an issue. I mean, cruisers are supposed to be like that. You're supposed to be relaxed and chill instead of being, hugging the tank for some stability. It does hold 11.2 liters of fuel, which is about average for other cruisers out there, at least in this displacement. And you can get about 27 kilometers per liter, which is actually fairly good. So the seat is nice and plush, comfortable enough. This is the seat for a pillion, which you probably wouldn't be using too much. There's the rear foot peg right there. It does come with Nissan calipers, before I forget that. The stopping power of the bike is pretty good. But the seat height, which is one of the big considerations why I was looking at this bike in the very first place a couple of years ago, is 690 millimeters. Pretty much anybody can sit on this bike and flat-foot it just like that. Now, something that you may notice when you're riding the bike, your foot is definitely going to hit this part of the engine. It does have a protector on it, so you're not going to burn your ankle or your boots. But it's something that the other side does not have. So it does take a little bit of time to get used to it, but it should not be a big deal the more you ride the bike and you get used to that right there. The curb weight of the bike is 185 kilograms, which is very manageable. But you know, the weight is going to be not too high anyway, so it's not going to be an issue while you're moving the bike around. If you're moving it in the parking area, not an issue also. So that's something to consider, especially for beginners out there who probably are not used to moving around big, heavy bikes. This should not be a problem. All right, so let's do a quick sound test. It's not bad. I can imagine it being louder, maybe to take out the catalytic or something. But I mean, it can be louder, but it's not bad. Okay, so the seating position is, well, very neutral, nice and comfortable. I've ridden this bike for a couple hours the other day, and it's pretty comfy. I mean, it's usually a naked bike, if I'm riding it for about an hour, I start feeling the seat, but this one is still pretty comfortable, not bad, perfect for a long ride. Speaking of seat, the low seat height of 690 millimeters makes it extremely accessible for pretty much all riders out there. I mean, Kako Terona used to own one of these. Imagine that. If he can reach the ground, no problem, anyone can. And I actually know some guys who bought this bike for their wives so they can ride together. It's one of those bikes that I think just about anybody can ride. And the bike is pretty lightweight and it's also pretty agile. Handling is nice here in the city, and also for weekend cruising if you want to take it out on the highway. The speed on the highway is decent enough. You can keep up with highway speeds, and it shouldn't be a problem. I mean, don't expect to win any races. You're not going to do that. You don't get a cruiser because you want to go fast. You want to get a cruiser because, well, you want something on two wheels. You want something slow, steady, and that can keep pace with the traffic. And this is one of those bikes that is actually going to be pretty nice for easy coffee rides in the morning on a Sunday, just out of town. Nothing too far, but I think this is going to be perfect for that. Yeah, I love how easy it is to handle, especially in city traffic. It's super easy to filter this bike. You have to watch out for the side mirrors a little bit, but if you proceed with caution, it should not be an issue. But for something that is expressway legal, it's one of the easiest bikes to filter. It kind of reminds me of when I filter with a scooter. In fact, I would go as far as saying filtering with this bike is almost as easy as filtering with a Vespa. And that says a lot. That says a lot about a bike like this. You know, the Rebel 500 is ideal for a wide range of riders. Beginners will appreciate how manageable the power and the low seat is. Experienced riders looking for something a little bit more stylish, something a little bit more classic, versatile cruiser could find it appealing as well, because especially if you have another bike, especially if you have a big adventure bike or a sport bike that you take out on the track, you're gonna want something that's not as difficult to ride around the city, and I think this is a nice choice for that. It's also very different. So if you have, you know, a big ADV and you want something classic for the city, this is a good choice. If you have a sport bike for track days, but you still want to ride around the city, this is also a good choice to have. Plus, may I add, if you are riding around the city and you decide, you know what, I want to get on the highway, I want to end up in Tagaytay or Clark or Subic or something like that, you'll be allowed to do it. So it's a nice, it's a perfect entry-level cruiser in my opinion. Now, when it comes to competition, all right, the Rebel 500, you go up against bikes like maybe the Kawasaki Vulcan S and also the new CF Moto CLC. I don't have much experience with the Vulcan, to be honest with you, so I can't really speak on that. But I do have experience with the CLC, and it's a tough choice. You know, I mean, it's I think something between this and the CLC. They're very similar. The seat height, the weight, the position, and even the styling is quite similar. But when you're buying a motorcycle, you're looking for something with something that you know more, something that you're more familiar with, something that is relatively reliable. And Hondas have been known to be, at least for the most part, reliable throughout its history. And I'm talking about as far back as time and memorial. So Hondas have been known for that. So expect this bike to be reliable in that sense, right? I mean, I'm not saying that the CF Moto isn't, because by all accounts, at least for the short time that the CLC has been around, I haven't seen any major issues with it. So because it's brand new, right? The CLC just came out earlier this year. Because it's still new, we don't know how long that engine really. I think the engine is good. The 450 of CF Moto is a very, very good engine, very versatile. But we also don't know how long it's going to last, because it's something that hasn't been around that long. These Honda engines, they've been around for quite some time now, and we know that this thing is extremely reliable. I do say that I can feel the engine on the right side of my leg. There's something that it is pop out a little bit, so you have to just remind that take that in consideration, that you're extremely exposed to this bike and you feel it on the right side. But this engine is very good. It's very, very simple. It's no frills. It's something it's very predictable. And I think anybody who is starting out will not freak out with a bike like this. It's great for the city and as a daily commuter, something that anyone who is entering the world of motorcycling may want to consider, especially if you like this type of look. I mean, if you want a sport bike, I don't think you're going to be looking at this bike, right? But if you want something that's a little more classic, and you don't want to get on a Harley Davidson right away, this is a nice step, right? This is a nice, perfect way to get into the world of motorcycling. Plus, it's a Honda, and you know what they say, you meet the nicest people on a Honda. Great for beginners, right? Like people who are entering the world of motorcycling, this is a great gateway bike to do so. It's something that is not gonna scare you. It's something you're gonna be able to master relatively quickly, and with a nice classic styling as well. I mean, it's gonna stand the test of time. I mean, you can buy this bike when you're getting into riding and actually keep it for the long haul if you don't wanna get a bigger one. And if you do want to get a bigger one, it's a perfect way to get used to riding. However, experienced riders and seasoned riders can appreciate a bike like this as well. I mean, remember, it's something that you can ride around the city with no problem whatsoever. So I think there are a lot of riders out there who can appreciate the Rebel 500 if you like the aesthetics of the motorcycle. And at a price tag of 399,000 Philippine pesos, that's actually a pretty good deal. For more information about this bike under the MC's outer, log on to www.motodeal.com.ph. I'm Jinno. Thanks for watching Beyond the Ride.